Rabbi, when camest thou hither?
Verily, verily, I say unto you, ye seek me not because ye saw the miracles, but because ye did eat of the loaves and were filled. Labor not for the meat which perisheth, but labor for that meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you. For him hath God the Father sealed.
What shall we do that we might work the works of God?
This is the work of God, that ye believe on him whom he hath sent.
What sign shewest thou then, that we may see and believe thee? What dost thou work? Our fathers did eat manna in the desert. As it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, Moses gave you not that bread from heaven. But my Father giveth you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he which cometh down from heaven and giveth life unto the world.
Lord, evermore give us this bread.
I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst.
Praise be Jesus Christ. On this 18th Sunday of Ordinary Time, the readings are telling us that we need to look deeper into the signs around us, praising God for all of his bountiful blessings, be they spiritual or material blessings. As St. Paul tells us in the second reading from his letter to the Ephesians, I declare and testify in the Lord that you must no longer live as the Gentiles do, in their futility of their minds, as truth in Jesus, that you should put away the old self of your former way of life, corrupted through deceitful desires, and be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and put on the new self, created in God's way in righteousness and holiness of truth. The early community of believers in Ephesus forgot how St. Paul taught them, not just by his words, but by his example, that once we are baptized, we become a new creation. We died with Christ as the saving waters of baptism were poured over us so that we could rise as sons and daughters of God the Father, as brothers and sisters to Jesus Christ. God has done and continues to do marvelous deeds for us, if only that we remember we belong to him. In the first reading from the book of Exodus, we hear the Israelites complaining against Moses that they do not have enough food to eat. They go so far as even to say that they were better off in Egypt living as slaves than for them to be starving in the desert. The Israelites forgot how God let the angel of death pass over them in Egypt. They forgot the many plagues that the Egyptians suffered. They forgot how God led them out of Egypt in a fiery cloud and parted the Red Sea so that they could go through it on dry ground. They forgot how the sea swallowed the Egyptians who were pursuing them to bring them back as slaves. Oh, how the Israelites forgot how faithful God was to them. After Moses brings the Israelites' complaints to God, God tells Moses that he will rain down manna from heaven every night and send quails for them to eat. The raining down of manna from heaven overshadows what Jesus is talking about in the gospel as recorded by St. John, the Bread of Life discourse on this 18th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Jesus tries to lead the disciples, as well as all those people who are attracted to his preaching, to believe that he is the true bread come down from heaven, and that if we eat his body and drink his blood, we will never be hungry or thirsty again. Jesus tells the crowds, don't look for food that perishes. Jesus says, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never hunger. Whoever believes in me will never thirst. Notice the words that Jesus uses. He doesn't say my body is a symbol of everlasting food. My blood is a symbol of an everlasting drink. The words that are used mean what they say. Jesus is bread. His blood is drink. When the crowds heard these words, they knew exactly what Jesus was saying. That's why many walked away from him. We will hear later in the month, as this bread of life discourse is proclaimed a few more Sundays. My brothers and sisters, the gift that the Eucharist is for us is the gift of Jesus Christ himself present, truly in his glorified and risen body, hidden under the form of bread and wine. Once the words of consecration are prayed over the bread and wine, they are changed forever. They become the body and blood of Jesus Christ. This miracle is explained in the theological and philosophical doctrine of transubstantiation. The doctrine states that the accidents of bread and wine remain. It looks like bread, it tastes like bread. It looks like wine, it tastes like wine, but their essence is changed truly into the body and blood of Christ. Down through the ages, the church has struggled with trying to understand this great miracle. There were times in which the body and blood of Christ has literally changed into heart muscle and blood. Through these miracles, scientists have discovered that the Eucharist, bread and wine, that has changed into true flesh and blood, are all of the same makeup. All you need to do is Google these Eucharistic miracles, and you will find many examples of these Eucharistic miracles down through the ages. God allows these miracles to happen so that the faith of the people can be strengthened. My brothers and sisters, we know that when we do not want to believe, no matter what God has done or what God will do, we won't believe. What we need to do is to bring our questions and our doubts to the Lord and lay them at his feet. He will answer any and all questions if we're humble enough to come to him. The key is that we need to come to him with humble hearts. I would like to end our reflection on the readings for this 18th Sunday in Ordinary Time by sharing a story with you taken from Connections, a homily help that I sometimes use. The story is the class of 2021. 17-year-old Verda Thief was the valedictorian of our high school class this year at Finchbrook High School in central Massachusetts. A brilliant student, Verda plans to study biochemistry at Harvard on her way to a medical career. Following her valedictory, the principal then announced the recipient of the school's annual Genuine Excellence Award, each year given to a graduating senior. The prize includes a $10,000 scholarship, which can be renewed for up to 4 years. This year's recipient was Verda. Verda happily accepted the award to the cheers of her classmates. But when she sat down, she says, "It hit me. This is $40,000. That's a lot of money. Obviously, I could use it. But there is definitely someone sitting in this crowd who needs it more." So Verda got up and went to the podium. She apologized for interrupting the ceremony and then said in a trembling voice, "I'm so very grateful for this, but I know that I am not the one who needs it the most. Knowing my mom went to a community college and how much that was helpful, I would be so very grateful if the administration would consider giving the General Excellence Scholarship to someone who's going to a community college." Her classmates and the crowd at the ceremony cheered and rose in a standing ovation. The school superintendent said later, "Everyone got it. What we witnessed was the ultimate in generosity." Verda and her mother, Rosemary, came to Massachusetts from Ghana when Verda was 8 years old. Her mother had been Verda's inspiration. Rosemary got her associate's degree from a local community college at the age of 47 while working full-time for people with disabilities and raising Verda and her 3 siblings. "We're blessed to be a blessing," Verda said after the graduation. "I thought that I was in a position where God has blessed me so much, and I thought it was the right thing to do to bless someone else." The extraordinary generosity of a high school senior from an immigrant family is food that endures for her high school class and her community. The works of God that Jesus speaks of in today's gospel are realized when we see beyond our own needs and wants to understand the plight of others. When we understand that blessings we have received are meant to be shared. May God give us the wisdom to live lives grounded in the food that endures, the food that never perishes, so that just as we are fed the bread from heaven, we become bread for our brothers and sisters. May the Lord give you his peace.
Come to the water, you are thirsty, though you have nothing, I bid you come, and be filled with the goodness I have to offer. Come, listen. Why spend your money on what cannot fill the emptiness deep in your heart? Listen to my word and you will enjoy goodness and peace in your heart. Come to the water, you who are thirsty, though you have nothing, I bid you come, and be filled with the goodness I have to offer. Come, listen. Just as the heavens are high above earth, my ways and thoughts beyond you. Call me your Father, and know I am near. I will be Father to you. Come to the water, you who are thirsty, though you have nothing, I bid you come, and be filled with the goodness I have to offer. Come, listen. Just as the rain falls to water the earth, just as a seed becomes bread, my word